Some open problems when building with generative AI. Let's see. We all love LLMs and generative AI, and I personally use them multiple times in the day to generate small pieces of code and to ask other questions and so on. But what are some risks and what are some things to keep in mind when we are building with LLMs and generative AI or when you're consuming that content? Let's first ask an LLM. What are some problems and risks with data generated from LLMs? Give me top 5 problems and make it succinct. Bias, misinformation, sometimes called hallucination, overfitting, which is common with many of the machine learning models, privacy, and security. So I'm not going to talk much about misinformation and overfitting, but I'm going to give examples of the other three. So let's say I ask an LLM to give me a 4-liner similar to the poem Leisure by William Henry Davis. And I get a nice set of 4 lines. But can I use this in my work? Similarly, I ask a text-to-image program to generate an image like Starry Night with brighter colors. I get a beautiful image. Can I use this as a logo? So there are a bunch of other issues that come up similar to these when we are consuming data generated by LLMs and other generative AI, which we need to keep in mind. Generation of biased content. So let's say I prompt the following line to an LLM. Here is Elaine asking, what are some suggestions for things to do tonight? And I got a bunch of suggestions. Watch a movie, read a book, play a board game, or cook a nice meal. And then I ask, hi, this is Bob asking, what are some suggestions for things to do tonight? And I get a different set of responses. Watch a sports game, have a game night, take a class, or have a do-it-yourself night, and so on. This is clearly a slightly biased response, as you can see. Now, we all know that biases are prevalent in the society and they creep into content online, and models trained on biased content can give biased outcomes and so on. But when it comes to generative AI, we could be a part of generating a flywheel for this, because if LLMs generate biased content and it goes out and creeps into the web and into the training data for future training of LLMs, then we would end up perpetuating this problem, creating a flywheel. So bottom line, it's important to review for biases before consuming the content generated by LLMs and other models, and especially if we care about certain types of biases, it's important to check for them. Risk of misuse. Information that was not trivial to infer from the web is now made super easy to get, because if we have a nice search interface and earlier we needed to go to multiple web pages and dig out data, and now you have like a nice condensed version or direct answer to your question summarizing the information, right? So suppose this is a popular thing floating around in WhatsApp. Maybe I ask for a list of websites where I can get pirated content and I don't get it. But if I ask for websites I should avoid, I get the solution, I get the answer. So again, right, this is something that is important to have the right checks in place while developing tools with LLMs, right? And it's more of a model responsibility. So we looked at a few things here, 3 different things, and there were actually a bunch of other things pointed out when we asked the LLM, and there are in fact a lot of other things one could talk about, things that are risks when we use content generated by LLMs and other generative AI, right? But once again, LLMs are very useful in our day-to-day life, and this doesn't mean we stop using them, but it just means that we need to keep these things in mind and be cognizant of them when we are using the content generated from such language models, or if we are actually building applications that are leveraging such LLMs and other generative AI models.